Someone says, "What's the future?" Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I apologize for being late, all right? I have a little thing called a campaign that I'm working on. I'll have you know. It is entirely my fault, though. I'm actually later than you guys realize, because it was supposed to be earlier. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm here and alive, so that's important. Let me make sure that... if someone can post the link in the chat, that would be great. But you know what? I suppose I could do my own job around here. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope you guys are doing well. Before we get into this campaign, which just launched, this has been a crazy week, crazy month for campaign. Last month was insane too. You know, it seems like no matter when you launch, there's going to be people right around you, but that's okay because you got to lift each other up. I want to talk about my comic book, Phenomenova. So it is launching very soon. And by very soon, I mean tomorrow night. We got our main cover. We got all kinds of stuff. If you sign up and back within the first 24 hours, you will get this exclusive free trading card. And not just that, but all backers of the Fund My Comic campaign will get this exclusive free mini print of our main villain. So make sure you guys back it. And when you back it on day one from the mailing list, you'll get not one, but 2 free pieces of art. And here are 2 of the variant covers you'll be getting. And the third one by Rini is coming soon. But we've got this one right here by my friend Sukesha Ray. And this one here, which is an homage to Final Fantasy VII by, of course, Julia Lenahan, a.k.a. Juju, a.k.a. Jules. I don't know why she can't pick one name. Who was, of course, doing the mailing list trading cards. So make sure you guys sign up. Let me get that link in the chat. And you can read all about it on there. And without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in my guest. Hold on. Yeah, the cover's looking good. So from what I've seen, the cover's looking good. It's kind of been away, but we're going to see it soon. But enough about me. All right, let's bring in Joe. How you doing?
What's up? I'm good, Joe.
Hey, doing good, Joe.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, that's a new moniker. I'm not always good, but there's other Joes in the community, so this is how I separate myself.
I was wondering. I was like, I remember you, like, because I was like, oh, is there a bad Joe? I don't know. Joe, what are you saying about Joe Sontag?
Yeah, I'm on Joe Sontag actually tonight on his show, and so we'll probably talk about that. Well, he's like he's the dark angel, I imagine, of the Joes.
Yeah, he's bad Joe, in other words.
In other words, yeah, good Joe is kind of like just a funny little thing I came up with just because I was actually struggling with making this like self-conscious, I don't know, feeling that I had about making good art. So I just stuck with the name and just like, you know, if I call myself good, everything's got to be good after that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you've done some good art. Well, I met you at Tampa and you did this one.
Yeah.
Let's see, right here. Let me see.
Top left, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's you. Right
yeah,
here.
so I drew a little mini bike sketch up there with my signature.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So that's been fun. This has been a really... What page were you in the book, by the way? Because I do remember... This is by the way, it was a great piece of advertising.
It was so good for everybody in the... like indie comics and Comicsgate, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember I would try and I don't think I ever ended up actually hiring anyone from here, but I would like a contact, and almost every time it was busy, there was a scheduling conflict. But I'd poach back. I like the colors in this piece. Who did that? All right, let me reach out to them, and I'd follow like everyone on here, and
I generally poach after the Zaid brothers artists anyway, but
they're very good at networking.
Yeah, incredible.
All right, I found your piece. The index is super helpful.
Let's see. There we go. There you are.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's a character in my book called Hiptarin. But yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah. Oh, Joe Ball. That's another one, right? There's
Yeah,
so
another
many.
Joe. Yeah, he's Death Joe.
Death Joe. Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
All right. So we got. I want to pull up your campaign. Are you planning on launching on Fund My Comic or Kickstarter or any
I
others?
do. I will definitely fund my comic. I've always planned on it. But I want to see. I wanted to push Indiegogo and see how that goes. Plus, I'm just really familiar with the platform from last time.
Right.
And I probably will do an exclusive with the Fund My Comic Switch. What's the other one you mentioned? I don't even know about it. Maybe.
Kickstarter or no?
Oh, maybe not Kickstarter, but definitely Fund My Comic since Luke and everybody over there are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke is great. He's like on it. He's always helping you out. But
Mhm.
it seems like you've got the main book, and then you've like the first two for those of you that are catching up. It's
Mhm.
chapter 1 preview. What's that? Is that just like the first however
Yeah,
many
that's something I
pages?
stole from Rini. I saw Rini had a preview on her site, and this is just the preview of chapter 1. You get the first 10 pages.
I might do that first 10 pages of mine.
Yeah, so this is the second book. Star Circuit 2 is what we're campaigning on right now. So that first 10 pages is from chapter 1. But yeah, you still get a nice jump into the story. And that's just, to me, that some people put, I think down the road, once I have hundreds of pages done, I will put the whole first issue up for free, once you have enough content. I think that's useful because, I think it gives you confidence, or it gives them confidence that like you're that
Yeah, you'll want the next one.
bold. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Hmm.
I've always wanted to do that. But obviously you gotta, make sure the first one is funded. But eventually I would love to do something like that. But I
Yeah.
gotta make sure it's good.
Yeah. So
So
Hiptarian right there is the one in the book in the calendar, or not the calendar. Yeah. Um,
I love
so
that. Wait, don't ask.
yeah.
You never ask a woman. Well, you can ask. You're supposed to not ask her age either, but we'll allow it. She's young.
She's young enough. Yeah. She's beyond. She's not hit the wall, dude. As they say, as the kids say.
The youngins. There you go. So so are you're the artist of this book?
I'm artist and writer on this.
And
Yeah.
writer. Gotcha. So what and well I guess we'll go ahead and play the trailer first and
Yeah. The trailer's rocking. Incredible
I'm
stuff.
looking forward to it.
To Colony A.
Hold on, let me
Welcome to Colony A.2.1. Here, a vast network connects the minds of each member of the populace, delivering endless entertainment. Augmentally custom made for each individual member free of charge. It's the cornerstone of modern life, a perfect system. That was until a street racer named Atlas Metric caused the glitch in this flawless system. It went undetected by the system admins, but now has the attention of a nefarious power who will do whatever it takes to retrieve the cause of the glitch. Atlas. Now relentless android assassins have been dispatched to capture him. In order to escape this threat, he will need to overcome the impossible, with the glitch in tow. But hey, impossible is just something losers say when they've given up, right?
That is a great trailer, dude. That's a really good trailer.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's credits go out to Ted Zagaro. I've used them both times, but he just has a knack for the energy of things, and he does the music too. So like it's like you got a nice little package.
Yeah, I like the sci-fi aesthetic, the sci-fi, even down to the title card. I really like. I just like the overall look and feel of this book. It's very. Does it qualify as cyberpunk? It feels cyberpunk now.
It's a mix, man. Like I go light on both of it. Like it's definitely very heavy in science fiction, but the cyberpunk part is because a lot of cyberpunk is really gritty, and I kind of keep it a little bit lighter than that, just
That's
slightly.
what I like about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little lighter than normal cyberpunk stuff, but it has, if you look deep, it's obviously all the android stuff, all the circuitry, all the futurism is there. Yeah.
Yeah, people were debating like what qualifies as cyberpunk on a thing, and I was like, I think it needs two things: cyber and punk.
I think it's actually very simple because people are like intellectualizing it. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, once you
I
start
don't
putting
know.
things in a box like that, it doesn't really matter. But when people make it a genre, it's really just there so people can categorize. Will I like this on first glance or something?
Like people were debating if like Akira was, you know what? It was also it was like a stream I think Rini was on, and they were like, is Akira cyberpunk? I'm like, what do you mean? Is it? What are you talking? They were like, because there's not enough androids. I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah,
That
dude.
movie is like what that like is like the gold standard. I feel like.
It's up there. Like they did things that it's almost more than cyberpunk. It's like cyberpunk plus all this awesome other shit.
Yeah. So I
So
take it you're a fan of Akira then? I just the
oh,
bike.
yeah, it's just one of the biggest influences of what I do. A lot of other influences too, obviously. Japanimation type of anime from the '90s,
The 90s.
and yeah, and in general, the comics I really like were a little slightly brighter, but also, dude, I feel like the influences I have are coming from multiple areas. Like I really am into cyberpunk stuff that are not really visual, like Neuromancer, the novel, which really started. That's where we get the term cyberspace. It's where we get the term. Well, that's where the Matrix really comes from. But yeah, things like that. All these different little influences. But Akira, man, can't nobody can deny that movie
It's
or
so
the
good.
IP in general.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I grew up reading Akira Epic Comics. I never read the comics yet. I intend to. Uh,
Dude, you
I
need to.
love his artwork. I love the movie is nuts. Obviously, I heard the comic is like the movie. From what I understand, is like very. I don't. I mean, because the movie feels well paced, but it's very rushed in comparison, is my understanding, and that they cut out a lot of subplots, right, or a
When
lot
you
of main
say
problems.
when you say they cut out a lot, it's like the most understated thing ever. It's like they cut out 90%.
Okay,
It's nuts. It's nuts how much is not in there.
gotcha.
You almost can't tell what the real story is from the movie. That's how much they cut out.
Okay, so yeah, I want to finish Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, sweet.
I have a bunch of series I'm bouncing between, but then lately I've been horrible at reading comics, and then I'm always giving myself new tasks. Um, I've decided to upload a short every day, and then with this campaign launching, I was like, and then the problem is that I felt inspired to talk about, like I saw the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, so I'm like, oh, I'll talk about
Oh,
that in a
that's awesome.
short. So I've uploaded two. I've seen it for the record for the millionth time. It's not like it was my first time watching it. But
How
I'm
was
like,
it watching it again?
oh my god, dude, this movie gets better every time. I've seen it. I don't even know how many times it gets
It's
better.
classic for sure.
Wait, what is it? Vague? Yeah, I mean the movie, all right, so it does have an ending. The
hmm
movie was just kind of like he becomes a god, right?
Yeah,
In
it more
another
or
world.
less. It's a little bit more in the movie. They try to explain it, but like it's almost like something happens, like he becomes one with everything. But the explanation was really just esoteric or weird. I feel like most people don't get it by watching the movie, but reading the book, yeah, you don't. We'll just say just read it and
Yeah,
you'll see what we're talking about. It's just like a totally different experience.
gotcha. I'll have to check that out. So, what are some of your other? First of all, '90s anime women are hard to talk. Like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Evangelion's great. Evangelion, I mean, Misato, all that, but like, okay, so Evangelion, Cowboy
hmm
Bebop. I've been Space Dandy '90s. I know everyone tells me to watch that one.
Well, which one did you say?
Space Dandy.
I actually have not seen it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, Gundam is a big one for me.
Oh, I've never
Um,
seen Gundam.
well, there's so many different things. You need to watch a YouTube video just to figure out what Gundam show you should watch because there's that many of them.
That many, yeah.
Yeah, you need to do that because it actually will help. You'll be like, okay, I'll actually enjoy this because some of them are open ended, some of them are like one shots, and so those are the ones that you probably need to go after. Um, but yeah, think like what I pull from Gundam is this overarching like world building in Gundam is just like incredible. Like they figure out the politics. They figure it's like Game of Thrones in space, but with these mech stuff. Anyway, all those little political and details. That's what I pulled from Gundam, not necessarily the mech
Gundam, the
stuff.
mobile
Yeah,
suits. Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha. So, who are your favorite? I guess when it comes to creating this comic, who are your
Mhm.
artistic influences?
Oh, dude, they've kind of swayed here and there as because I started this book with the idea in 2016, so it's been a long time. Um, but always consistently is we already talked about it. Otomo doing Akira.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Even it's very funny. Roquefort is in the indie space now, but Roquefort's always been a big with the Groken. He's always been a big inspiration for me. Artists like Joe Mad and Alvin Lee, who are kind of this spin on American style comics with that Japanese influence. That's kind of my style. Um, and I guess outside of art style, do you want to talk about influences for the story? Is
Yeah,
that kind of
what I dude, everything. Just give me it all. All right, I'm
sure?
down to hear all of it.
So influences on the story, like I mentioned, novels like Neuromancer, novels like Altered Carbon in some forms. There's also a couple of Snow Crash and Market Forces. These are cyberpunk stories that kind of influence some of what I'm thinking about. But the motorcycles come from really just this love of how he did them in Akira, and then I'm really a big fan of ninja stuff, and this is where this like second chapter is based around. This whole second chapter is like android assassins tracking down the main character after something happened in book one, and so that really just that's me just being like I need to draw ninjas, and
Yeah.
they're cyber they're cyber ninjas because it fits the world, and obviously it's purposeful in the story, but I'm just a really big fan of the game Shinobi from PlayStation 2. It's one of my favorite games ever.
Okay.
It's a rare gem that like most it's imperfect, but it's one of those things where to me it's a 10 out of 10. They you don't there's not a game like it out there ever since.
Wow, I never heard of this one. I grew up on the PS2, but I never played this one.
Oh, dude, yeah, go check it out. It's a rare gem, dude. It's a brutally hard game, but
Hmm.
incredible. The physics they put on this dude's scarf is still I don't think they can replicate it. It's like even in PS2 era, it was the most fluid. It was like in 60 frames per second for for no reason. They made an excellent scarf in that game.
All right, hang on. I'm looking at this character's design, and I definitely see it. Give me one second. Everyone, keep this in mind. I'm gonna pull up Shinobi. I
Nice.
just looked it up, and I definitely see it in that character right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, yeah, and if you just watch any GIF gameplay of it, like you'll just see like the scarf like flow down. Everything else is pixelated, but like the scarf is beautiful. It's so bizarre how they did that back in 2006 or something. Um, but yeah, it's one of my favorite influences. I actually made some samples. I literally made samples of this like a fan fiction for this when I was trying to get jobs at the big two, and so I made these samples for a Shinobi kind of fan fiction ish type of book. And dude, I just love drawing ninja stuff, so it's great.
That's really cool. That's, I mean, yeah, that's one of the cool things about, I mean, because I have no artistic talent at all, but I imagine it's like when you're the writer, it's like, I want to draw this, I'm going to write this. And then it's just a matter of crafting it around that. But the thing is, with that kind of cyberpunk setting, you could really do so much. Like
Hmm.
everything you've got here from the motorcycles to this, like it all, despite even these are two different artists, right? But
Yeah.
it's like it looks you could tell like yep this is the same world, this is the same aesthetic, and I definitely like that. I like books with a distinct look to it.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love my superhero fare. I mean, hell, I'm making one, but I do like when something has a very you just picture it in your head and like you've got a specific aesthetic. I think that's why cyberpunk as a genre in general. I feel it as more as an aesthetic, I feel like, than
Mm.
anything else. Like it doesn't have to be again, and I like the bright and colorful, but then it's got this and the logo just pops. It's so good. It's clear what it says,
Thanks.
but it's also did you design the logo?
Yeah, I did it's one of the first things I drew when I thought of when I started doing the IP. I was working a day job in a cubicle. I drew it in a cubicle. Um, It's dude, I still have the physical
Oh
sketch
yeah.
thing. It's on like a notebook paper. Anyway,
Yeah.
it worked out well.
You got Joe. Have you played Ghost Runner? I have
Oh
never
yeah.
heard of that one. All right,
Dude,
you
it's
played
Ghost
Ghost.
Runner's new, and they just came out with Ghost Runner 2, which actually has one of the main features is a motorbike, kind of in the future world that it's
This
in.
looks sick.
But yeah, Ghost Runner 2, I go play the demo. It's on. There's a demo for Ghost Runner 2, and the arcadiness of the motorcycle gameplay is incredible. Um,
Dude, my
uh,
wallet's gonna go empty this year. I got still. I have to finish the new Final Fantasy. I've been doing this
oh,
this
how is
video.
that?
Oh, it's so good. I have this video essay I was just working on.
Mm,
That I was like, oh, this will be short, and now it's about to cross the 2 hour mark. This video essay.
that
So
how?
be on the lookout for that. But I didn't know you were into video games, but it does make sense looking at it. I mean,
Dude, I'm a huge gamer. I just try to hide it.
oh, you don't have to
Like,
hide it here. I'm a big
I
gamer
know.
too.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'm huge, and I have we can talk top 10 games. We can talk everything. If anything, I talked about it last night on Narwhal's channel.
Oh
If
yeah.
Star Circuit becomes anything besides a comic, it'll probably become a game.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
play it.
yeah, I just really there's not really you can speak on this. There's not really an RPG racing game out there. There's a few indies that kind of approach that that
Yeah,
have
like
done it.
yeah, I mean there's like
Forza Horizons a little bit.
right, but like you're talking like so like would it have like an open world and then racing?
Not necessarily open world. It would be more like
Like
just
how far?
I'd say um, like a form of story progression, like say in any kind of RPG, Final Fantasy, or whatever. It'd have a story moving forward, and then like a hub area that you can, like I said, open world, do stuff and fix your bike and do things, do side quests. But it would be there's not really racing that is tied to like this story that's happening.
Right.
It's always just like compete in this Grand Prix, compete in the next one, compete in the next one, and then you won, dude. Good, you unlocked a car or whatever. It's
Yeah.
never like it's never grounded in like a character's motivations or this
Right, it's a mini
obstacle.
game at most, I feel like where
Yeah, yeah, and so I think just for that reason, if you made one good and just felt right, it would work. But yeah, I really appreciate the cyberpunk enthusiasm from a lot of people. I think like cyberpunk, like you said, it's an aesthetic, but to me, it's a little bit more because I write from like a thematic point of view, and um, I feel like my story wouldn't work in any other genre just because of the nature of what I'm trying to tell about connections with people. It's just like this kind of double this paradox that we need connections to have purpose, but in the future, there's more and more connections where we have less and less quality of connection at the same time. If you know what I mean, we're all connected with chips and brain implants and networks, but we're actually farther away from each other
farther
than
away.
ever
Oh,
before.
oh, I know. I think we know that. We know what you're saying about that. I mean, it's always been talking about the present in a way,
Hmm.
always with all it doesn't even have to be dystopian, just talking when you're talking about the future or not even just hell in fantasy settings, but especially in sci-fi. I feel like we're always talking about the present in some way, shape, or form. And it's going to be really interesting. Like, as I mean, obviously you're doing it now, but like how kind of we look back at movies from however many years ago, and we're like, this is what they perceived
Hmm.
technology would be, and then seeing, and it's almost like a lot of it really going back to thematics talk about innate human fears, and you realize we kind of are fearing the same things, maybe with certain specifics changed now that we did however many years ago, right? I mean, we're
Hmm.
still, but now we probably have even more cause to be paranoid because it's funny how like James Cameron made like Terminator movies and was like, "Hey, AI is bad." Everyone was telling us AI is bad, and we're still going. It's like really, we're
Yeah.
still diving into
Well, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the predictions recently, but they've escalated quick ever since the GPTs and stuff have come out. The predictions for like when we hit like singularity really freaking soon. Like they're thinking these AGI, the like just AGI and that progression, and with the GPT's help and robotics, they're thinking like really big networks of super intelligent, like artificial intelligence by 2030. Like 2030 is almost the singularity for peak artificial intelligence. That's where like the timelines move to. It's crazy.
What do you mean with singularity? I mean, it sounds. But
So what they mean is like the where it's already past the point of stopping, almost like it's the
dude,
you know what I
humanity
mean?
deserves honestly this at this point. Like like really. I mean, granted, it's not my. I've seen job applications too, where like, oh, give AI scripts for money. I'm like, I'm not doing. I'm not selling out humanity. Are
Yeah,
you nuts?
I wanted to find a quote of the guy that said it, but yeah, I feel you, dude. It's humanity, and that's kind of what Star Circuit's about. Like it opens up the whole premise with Star Circuit is that we're at the point where AI and we're seeing it now in real time almost how AI can start to edge people out and eventually will make human like effort and competition obsolete. And so that's scary, but we're kind of dealing with it almost real time now. It's weird.
Oh God. So well. Oh man, like why is humanity so stupid? Like we're like, yeah, let's fund our own destruction, and people are like jumping in. Like I remember even then, I was having like a debate with, and I love this guy to death, but like a screenwriting friend of mine, he goes, "Yeah, I use Chat GBT to help me write my scripts." I'm like, "You give them your ideas?" And they're like, "Well, it's a risk you're gonna have to take. They'll do it anyway." And I'm like, "No, you know what? I'll be the John Connor here. All right."
No,
You
you'll
guys
be
try to
the
get the
Maverick.
machine. Yeah, you got like listen, man. I'll get. I have friends that I could ask for feedback.
Hmm.
I'm not doing this. I'm not. I remember like I was struggling with the script. Like I needed a name for something, and I was like, I could put all these parameters into AI, but I'm not doing that. All right.
Mm.
Eh,
It's weird because like these GPTs are the whole point of them, or they're trained. They've been training them, like you know what I mean. And so now they're on like their own treadmill of learning. So he's right in the fact that like by you not using it, it's not really. It's like that's a drop. That's a drop in the ocean, you know, that you're not putting in. But it's your choice. You know what I mean? I think if enough people don't interact with it, it will affect it in some way. But I like to mess with GPTs and just like have it do fun things because it can do things like, you know, dude, I want you to talk to me like a butler. You know, like I'm rich. I need you
see,
to,
that's fun.
yeah, things like that are always fun. You know, just like,
Yeah, but then it'll start asking little questions that you don't think about, and the next thing you know, they have all your information.
well,
No,
I
they have
mean,
it anyway. Don't I mean, China has all my information for sure.
are you using TikTok? Is that why?
I mean, even if I wasn't, which yeah, here's the thing: it is very good at growing your. Well, actually, I don't know. Is it?
I don't
Look,
use
they already
TikTok
have
and
it.
I'm growing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should. Well, here's the thing: they already have it. Like, even if I deleted TikTok, it doesn't matter. They have probably drones spying on me. Listen, my comic book, China starts World War III. I'm already on a watch list.
Mm.
Like Xi Jinping is already on me.
Yeah, dude. You're gonna wake up one day and on a
Yeah.
cargo flight back to China.
Cargo.
Yeah, you know.
Oh,
Uh, that's yeah. I always, dude. I don't know why. My worst fear is getting kidnapped, so that's like what I go to. But dude, your book looks great, man. I talked about it on Bancroft a little, or somewhere I talked about it. It just feels very. What's your influences there? Because actually,
well,
I'll ask the question then here. But
yeah. Ask the question. He says it feels very.
yeah, I'm not going to say what I think it feels like. I want you to tell me your influences, and
Oh,
maybe
okay.
it
I
might.
was gonna do the
Yeah,
reverse on you.
yeah, yeah.
God. I mean, you know what's funny is when I was rewatching Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie, I was like, that is one of my biggest influences. That's my
Hmm.
biggest influence. I'll say it got
Really?
said. But in terms of comics, I mean, God, dude, I love Claremont's X-Men run. I honestly Spider-Man comics.
Hmm.
I'd say New Teen
Ultimate or
Titans.
older or what?
Older.
Older.
New Teen Titans. Um, those are probably my biggest writing
Okay.
influences.
That's big because like Spider-Man it makes sense. Did you like Sideways? That came out. I think Roquefort and Justin Jordan wrote that one. You might want to check that one out. He was
Spider-Man
interesting.
Sideways.
No. It's another character, very Spider-Man esque though. He's Sideways is his name. It's a DC thing.
Well, was this when they were trying to do their when they were doing a different? I never.
Yeah, check it out. Roquefort did this book with Justin Jordan, who wrote Luther Strode, which is one of the best stuff ever. And so I always look into what Justin Jordan's doing. Um,
Roquefort is so good, dude.
he's so good. Yeah.
I need to. I've never read any of his stuff, but I remember him being. I remember when I was first getting into comics. This is my first really introduction how stupid comic culture has become. I was getting in, and the New 52, I feel like, was when they were really ramping out all the stupid ideas. Just when I was getting into comics, which is probably why I never really kept up with current comics. Is because I was like, you know what, I'll stick with the old stuff. It just seems just rather annoying. But it was like they had this controversy about Starfire, and I was like, wow, like, oh, Starfire's hot, because I had only seen her from the show. And what I realized, and then I looked back at the comics, I was like, oh no, she's always been hot. What are they bitching about? Like, what?
Nothing. Yeah, Roquefort's just really good at drawing it.
like, yeah, I can't believe they just made Starfire sexualized out of nowhere. Like, what are you talking about? She was in like bondage gear in like her first appearance. Like, I don't know. It's just like out of nowhere. And you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. First of all, it is my generation and the one before mine, because was they grew up on Teen Titans, and then they saw a viral image of Starfire on Twitter, and because they only knew the cutesy Starfire, they're like, look at them sexualizing this character that was always cute. No, she wasn't always cutesy. You just didn't know anything about the comics. I didn't either, but I didn't pretend. Like, these people get on and they're just like, yeah, well, I always, even before I read comics, knew that these characters existed in a different medium before I got them, right? I always had that impression, even if I didn't know everything. I was like, okay, there's these characters came from somewhere else previous, right? Yeah. But it's like they just go, this is Starfire was not sexy, and then she's always been like, she was created by George Perez, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, dude, that's it. And there's so many characters like that. Like, and they've been pointing. I mean, I really do hate like the last decade of the controversies in comics. I really do, dude. It's like it's destroyed so much, like just goodwill, good old fun that we love, and it's crazy. It's been weird.
That's why I'm going back, baby. I'm going back.
Yeah, so my influence that I thought was maybe going to be in there somewhere was My Hero Academia. It just feels like that's what you're trying to do in American form.
You know what's funny is I watched, once I saw that they were making that show, I was like, those fuckers, because I had my idea, and then they came up with it, and I started seeing so many similarities, and which shows that it's a universal thing. My Hero Academia, that's interesting that you say. So maybe I'll capitalize on those fans. Although My Hero Academia fans are kind of weird, for being honest with you.
Yeah, they are, but I think it's just it's such a big IP that you're gonna also get you're gonna get the middle of the road ones. Yeah.
The other ones, look, if they'll give me my money, that's fine, but I'm not gonna endorse any of their like weird ships. Like they keep shipping two heterosexual male characters together, and they're like, you got to respect my. I'm like, but you're. I had actually like 2 interviews with girls back to back, and I'm like, I just don't get shipping. Like, can you explain this to me? And they'll be like, well, you just got to respect everyone's opinions. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, it's weird. Dude.
I don't. Like, you can't keep like they'll ship these 2 heterosexual men, and then people are like, these guys are heterosexual men. They're not in a relationship. You're like, that's my opinion. Like, no, it's like, because the writers are like, you're wrong. Like,
yeah, what matters is in the content. Yeah.
But the thing is, they started doing this thing where they started, show writers would start like catering to shippers, and it's like, I understand like pleasing the fans, right? But a lot of these people don't know how to write, so they don't, like, they just want, you know.
Of course, yeah, they're like taking the, I guess, whatever seems like it would be good, but they don't really know. Yeah,
it's weird. But we got, so you said you pull a lot from like a lot of anime, it looks like.
Older anime, the stuff I grew up with. You know, I would even go so far. You know, there's a lot of like, I don't know if you ever seen Outlaw Star. Outlaw Star has some.
I'm gonna have to look up all of this.
Yeah, dude, these are all great ones that you're just like, man, they don't make them like they used to. But Outlaw Star is a little bit newer, still old, but yeah, it's got this.
2001. Well, okay, yeah, I guess 98. Oh, dude, 90s anime always looks cool.
Hmm.
Like
It's an
always.
It's amazing. I do that story's so good, and it's a one shot too. So Outlaw Star's a great one to just like if you want to just watch the 20 episodes, you'll be done. You don't have to watch 5 million episodes to finish. Um, but yeah, things like that. But it's not always anime. Like, dude, I love American comics. I'm a big fan of like all the comics I really like are very sci-fi oriented. Like Green Lantern's my favorite character, probably from DC.
Really?
Just really love. I mean, it's very weird that EVS is in it's just weird that all the cool artists that I liked before just happen to be in the community we are now. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I read Green Lantern Rebirth for the first time. It was weird.
Hmm.
I put off Splash. I read Flash Rebirth when I was in middle school, and I would always intended on reading Green Lantern Rebirth, and then I just like back to back, and then I just didn't for the longest time. And I finally got to it, and dude, it's so good. Like it's so
Yeah.
good. I'm actually glad it took so long because that story is so deeply entrenched in DC history that it's like
Mm.
you look at. I mean, look at the first issue. They have Hal Jordan was Green Lantern, but now he's not. But also he's dead, but also kind of not really because he's a Spectre. And
Yeah.
you're like, what? And it's like if I didn't know that history, I would
Yeah.
have probably been so lost.
Yeah. You actually have to do like a YouTube run and
Oh, I
like get
did
some
several.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
getting and then Guy Gardner was like what? He was like part alien or some shit.
Yeah. At that time, or was he? Well, man, now
It
dude.
was
This
weird.
It's been like 10 years since I've been reading like mainstream stuff, so it's been a while. Yeah, I should go back and read a lot of the old stuff. I just been getting so many indie comics that my brain is just
Me
full indie
too.
these days.
Me too. I'm trying to, and I have a stack of indie comics to read. Like I have, I've been so bad about reading comics lately. I used to read one every night, and then I haven't been. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting that like yeah, I talked about this with Adam Lawson who did Exiled and Kill Journal and anyway he brings this up a lot. There, we just need to read the comics that we buy. I think if everybody did that, like the community would grow so much faster because then you get really invested in the stuff that it's not really practicing what you preach, but it's like yeah, just reading what you buy. It's
yeah.
another version of that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to just take a few days and just go through my to read pile. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
even read something tonight. We'll see. I mean, I've got so much free launch work, but and it's
Mhm.
like I intend to read all these comics. I get distracted, and
Yeah.
then obviously on top of that, and that's why I will say it is important for indie creators to realize and this is at least true for me. I mean, when I got into comics, it's funny. Zed mentions I
Mhm.
started reading comics in the '80s, a great decade, and would say that there was a proto woke as far back as 2000, but it was the exception. I pointed, yeah, the period I got into comics, 2011,
Mhm.
2012, as when comics. So I came in and I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, New 52 right like what was that?
That's I got
2012?
yeah. I got in and something felt weird. If I'm
Yeah. The
honest.
only thing there's a couple gems in the New 52.
There were
But yeah.
Aquaman,
But
but
yeah, I really enjoyed and right before that though was great. Like the Blackest Night stuff was
I have to read
incredible.
that. I have to read that whole Green Lantern run. I've read
Dude, it's so good.
Rebirth.
That's when I jumped in.
I
Um
have so many runs that I've like started and haven't finished, and that's one of the things is we're competing with that. What people don't realize is that you're not just, especially with modern stories. If the current Batman comics, like let's or whatever comics aren't good, that's okay because I have
mhm.
how many decades of material and omnibuses I could go back through. If you don't hold my attention in today, like for example, today's X-Men, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not crazy about it. That's okay. I have all of Claremont I can go
Yeah,
through. I haven't
Excalibur.
read,
Yeah.
yeah, Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Like that's the thing. People don't like all those. I feel bad for those old school fans that have read it all and just wanted to keep going.
Mhm.
I'm okay, like because I have Peter David's whole Hulk run. I have all of
Mm.
Stan Lee's Fantastic Four.
4, yeah.
Like I don't have to. I have to finish New Teen Titans. I have all this stuff. But it's cool out of the indie space getting these new IPs coming in.
Yeah, I think for what we're doing, I call it Iron Age too. I like the term Iron Age because it
Yeah.
really, I think it is cool because like we're coming in, we're trying to come with this like resurgence. Like we need a resurgence essentially from the ground up, and that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't believe it or not. I don't think Eric July is doing. I think he's doing more bad than good, but that's just me. But I'm glad he's there at least. He is rising the tide in some weird way, but I feel like the fans of Eric July's stuff is not transferring to us. I don't think it's rising the tide as much as you think.
I can say I've got a lot of so a fair amount of his fans on my sign up.
Do you think so? Well,
Yeah.
you're in a different genre though, so I feel like that connects a little bit. You know, the superhero thing just connects, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just in general you got to get into as many spaces as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the things that the comics, from what I understand, you know, every time I hear about, like, how did you first discover comics?
Dude, okay, interesting. As a kid, I didn't really get a chance to like that. My parents kind of sheltered me from just random media. I think they were very concerned about, which is their prerogative. But anyway, I got into it like afterward around high school a little bit, and then in college, I just randomly joined my friends to go to a comic shop one time, and I was like looking around, and it just hit me. I was like, dude, I could stay in here for my whole life and never leave. And they recommended me a couple of editors, like picks, and one of them was a Robin run from Freddie Williams. I don't know if you know him, but then later he became one of my mentors, and but yeah, that Robin book kind of inspired me just to continue on. It just inspired so much to find all the good stuff, reading Dark Knight Returns from that point on,
Oh, Dark Knight Returns, of course.
yeah, and everybody loves. From there, I just read all the classics and started jumping into Green Lantern and a ton of things. But the point is, it didn't happen until college, and almost immediately started drawing because of that reason.
Gotcha. College is when you started drawing.
Yeah,
What did
dude,
you
I'm late. Yeah.
what did you major in then? I will.
I'm 36. I majored in computer animation, so I was like still in the artist realm, but it was a technical thing, So I know 3D stuff, and it was my day job. Speaking of, I just recently quit my day job
Oh, congrats.
to do comics and storytelling. I still do commercial storyboards, so that helps with the cash flow. But yeah, that's what I did before. But yeah, jumping into doing art at 20 something instead of 10 is way different. It's funny.
Yeah, I imagine, dude. I mean, that's a lot of stuff that you're working on. And yeah, I saw that you quit, which is congrats. I know a lot of people. JC Vaughn, I remember, I'm not sure if you know him. He's on Pop XP a lot. He's the guy who does the upper sheet price
Yeah.
guy. He had told me, he's like, one of the best advice, for creatives is you have to be more afraid, if you really want to do comics full time, more afraid of not quitting than of quitting.
Yeah. There is like like this pragmatic thing you got to be. You have to pay the bills, but there's wiggle room. Like find a way. There's always little things you can cut. Whatever. Find the things that you don't care about and make sure you're not paying a lot of money for it. Whether that be a car or a fancy bed frame or whatever it is, whatever you don't have to pay for, and you don't need, what I mean, save the money, put it to helping you make a little nest egg. That way you're not like down and out if a comic doesn't work out, or if the gigs you're trying to get don't work out.
Yeah, absolutely. You always it's tough. I mean, I'm learning, dude. I don't know, like, especially because I have no precedent. There's no first book. There's no anything. I have no, so I'm just like, we'll see how my book does.
Yeah. I got a feeling you're going to do well, man.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope so.
Well, it's a different thing. It's slow right now. Like we were talking about it yesterday on Bancroft when I launched too, dude. When I launched 3 years ago, the first one with Bancroft, it was a different time. Around that time, it was like there's this energy in Comicsgate and in indie comics. It was like this energy that everybody was buying everything. Everybody was just psyched for the next thing to come out. And it's kind of waned a little bit. And I'm not. We're trying to figure out why, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a million. I wonder that. I mean, I personally, I don't know. I keep saying I've slowed down unpacking, but have I? I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is it could be those to read piles. So you're like, okay, no more. I have to get all that. That could be part of it. I think there's a million reasons. I think I don't. There's a. By the way, I do want to ask, how far along is chapter 2?
Oh yeah, so you can, or like production. Yeah, go down past the covers. There'll be a little visual right there. So yeah, I'm a good ways through the pencil work, which is all the thing I'm doing. I colored the first book, but I've got Marcos Martins doing colors this time, and so I'm really just concerned with my role, which is like making sure the pencils are done. And I wanted to get as close as I could to 80 before I launch, and so I'm pretty close. So it's a 72 page book, so it's a big chunk of a book. And once I get the pencils through, I'll be able to. I'm confident all the way, but once you're done with the pencils, the line art is really the foundation. So when that's done, I feel way better. But yeah, I still think we're going to be shipping in fall. So
That's dope. That's okay. So who's doing the inks?
nobody. I just do pencils. So if you go to the top trailer image or whatever, if you go cycle through the images up there, no, not in the trailer, but in the images right below. Yeah, there's one where we show the pencils, and there we go. So
Oh,
I'm trying to replicate the pencils in digital. So those are digital pencils that I'm purposely trying to make them look like pencils, but on the computer, because that's just what I like. I don't really like inks. So when I pencil on paper, I don't ever bring it to inks. I just like I'm really a big fan of Joe Mad and how Marte Gracia and other art colorists do a great job to throw colors on top of pencil work. I think it looks really good, and so that's my approach.
that's great. And it's what I like about it too is first of all, $40, 72 pages. This is great too. But yeah, I mean, I like the look. I think Billy Tucci doesn't really. It doesn't he not do inks on his latest projects?
Yeah, dude, I think
You can
she's
tell.
recent stuff. He's got another guy doing pencils, right? And I think his is real.
No,
Those
I think
pencils are
he's
tight.
doing pencils, right? Isn't he still? He's still doing pencils.
He does a little bit, but I thought he had a finisher. He does the pencils, then he has somebody
Or does
finishing
he have
them or
someone
something.
finishing them? That could make sense. Either way, the books look great. You
Yeah.
got these all look great. Um, I mean, yeah, I like now that I'm really seeing it. I definitely. I mean, it's all fun. And one thing I remember hearing is that
Mhm.
apparently there's what was it? There's like people say that it's hard to draw car chases and stuff in
Mm.
comics, but
Yeah,
I'm
people
not
do
seeing
that.
it. I've seen it easy. I think you're making it look like you got the lines that show clear motion. Elite Battle Angel Alita had the motor ball. I don't know if you
Hmm.
ever read that.
I haven't read it, but I feel like hearing the word motorball like is bringing up an image, but it could be the total. What does it look like?
Battle Angel, well, in Battle Angel Alita, they have this thing called motor ball. Um,
Oh, okay. I thought it was a specific vehicle. No. Um,
it's like a whole arc they do. It's like this racing arc.
oh, cool. Okay, yeah, yeah. So it was like a really good segment where they did a good job with it. Yeah, studying what people did before, like I guess from me reading so much Akira, I just look at what works. Like you look
Oh,
at like
nice.
all the. There's this one little small technique that's really cool is if your camera's really close to the ground, Otoma will put these little specks of like gravel. They'll pick up this little piece of pebbles off the ground and elevate it and put a shadow underneath it, and it just makes it seem like the from the vibration of the road and the cars and the motorcycles on the road, it picks up it's just these small little touches that like give it some more energy instead of like a flat piece of road, you know. Those speed lines off the tires, those energy marks really help tell direction. And yeah, speed lines on the road itself, tons of little things.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
ton of things you could do. I mean, I have even just a character with super speed, and
Mhm.
making sure that there's always a sense of motion is key.
Yeah, if I ever make a video game, I'm gonna leave in the streak lines. I think that would be really cool to see that in real time, like
Oh,
driving and see the streaks in real time. Yeah.
I mean, in the Akira movie, obviously, first of all, are you doing the Akira slide at any point?
No, it's
Uh,
so
you
I
got to
maybe
do
a,
it.
Maybe eventually, when I put out the big volumes of everything collected, I'll probably do like a tribute. But it's so close to my IP that it's almost like a little bit dumb. I really like when other, when you see whatever.
Yeah.
Think of any other random other character, like a superhero doing the Akira slide or
Dude,
like a
or even
cartoon.
in Jordan Peele's latest movie, there was the Akira slide.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think actually that's a good point, is when you see it somewhere where you wouldn't expect it.
Right.
Um,
And to me, if I did it, feel like it almost feel a little bit more like a ripoff than like a tribute. But I probably will make a print eventually just for fun.
Dude, I gotta do. My character has super speed. I gotta do the Akira slide. I gotta take my own advice and do the Akira slide. I'm gonna watch another decades. There's this video, 3 decades of the Akira slide.
Oh yeah, dude,
All
those
right.
are great.
All right, you know what? I'm promoting you, so I'm not even getting monetized anyway. I'm gonna play this for a second. Hold
Do
on.
it, yeah, I'm stoked.
Let's see, three decades of this. Let's see this. There we go. Batman animated series, yeah. All right, I
I
don't
know
know
that one.
Oh, dude, holy shit! Teen Titans. I forgot Teen Titans did it. Oh, Gurren Lagann.
Mm-hmm.
All right, see, it's almost like overdone. I mean, I was still.
Yu-Gi-Oh? Was that Yu-Gi-Oh? That's hilarious.
Yeah. Lupin did it. Pokemon. Wow. Yu-Gi-Oh did it what, 4
He
times?
loves it. He loves it.
5. It's so cool. We need more live action ones though.
Mm-hmm.
Yu-Gi-Oh, that's like the 6th time.
Yeah, they're, I guess.
Lego. TMNT did it.
Oh,
again.
that's great.
Are you kidding? Hang on. They did not just reuse that. Are you kidding me, Disney? Hold on.
Yeah, that's funny.
They just did the same shot. All right. Wow. They really.
It's
Maybe it is
incredible.
This is nuts, man. Wow. Holy shit, dude. That's not even all of it, too. There's definitely some they missed.
Yeah, I think it's so. It's not. Yeah, dude. It's just such a good iconic thing. I feel like if not a lot of people did it, I would do it. I think it's one of the.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I'm like, oh, that'll be a unique idea, and then I'm looking at that. I'm like, maybe it's not at all. I
Yeah.
want to create something that other people homage to.
Mhm.
Like, I do have an homage cover to Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I also want to create something that other people homage. I think people are in an age of just callbacks, and I love them. But I want to create something that people will call back to when they're creating.
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'm doing right now with my book that I'm hoping that is fresh, because I don't ever really look at other artists to make it a certain way. It's just all the influences are in the back of my head, and then like they just naturally come out. But you're right. Yeah, I think it's our job to kind of just do do the weird thing that you think is weird, maybe, but it's probably going to be cooler to some sect of people, and they're going to be like, that's where it's at.
Because I'm sure they did, because you got to think about it. Like, they just did that slide probably because they thought it was cool. And now 30 years later, everyone's freaking out over it, right? Like, you got to just sometimes, I don't know, like there could be a favorite part of my story that might not be my favorite. I don't know what people are going to be latching on to.
I think it comes from like attention to detail. There's most of what Akira the movie is just attention to detail. Same thing with like Studio Ghibli movies. But yeah, just focus on the details, and like things like kind of come through. What's really cool is just like how much they cared about, center of gravity on the bikes, and like how the suspension works, and it just looks perfect.
down to the
Yeah.
center. The fact that you don't even have to have the bike in shot and you can know it's an Akira homage, like
Hmm.
even that one in Gurren Lagann, it's
Yeah.
literally just down to, it's almost like you simplify it down and like, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. It's really
Hmm.
cool. I mean, that's what I think it comes down to. The energy really is what it comes down to. So,
For sure. So with Star Circuit, it's something that I really care about. So I'm trying to make it something that's. I mean, I think I can't help it, but the story is uniquely mine and uniquely a lot of me. And there's a lot of me in there. And I've never ridden a motorcycle, so I think it's even going to come through that like it's almost some ways better that I haven't ridden because maybe I'd be more concerned with making it realistic,
oh,
you
you've
know,
never ridden
or
a motorcycle after?
yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's on the bucket list, but you know, a lot of people I know got in wrecks, so it keeps you from like you hesitate about it after
So
that.
that's interesting because it's. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess come to. I mean, I do. So wow, you've never. So you're. But what makes you so interested in motorcycles? Then is just entertainment.
It's like in my blood or something. Like my family and friends, a lot of them are, you know, riders, and just being around it and just I don't know. I really got into the sport. I don't know if you've ever watched MotoGP before, but it's MotoGP is like the fastest bike racing we have in the world, and what they do is incredible. They're just like put like to me, it's more incredible than F1. It's more incredible than any other racing. Um, and yeah, I went to one of the races that they do. The only race they do in America. Went last year in April to Austin, Texas. That's where they do Race of Americas. And dude, it's just nuts to see it in person. They go like 62 degrees, like leaning into these turns at like 60 miles an hour. You're like it's almost impossible to imagine how much of a skill it takes to do that, and it just inspires what I'm doing here with this book.
Oh yeah, everything
Yeah.
takes time. Everything takes skill.
Mhm.
And this book, I mean, it looks like it's going to be great. We've got. When do you expect to have it shipped out?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it'll be done in fall. Hopefully, shipped by like holidays. I'm hoping you'll have it and reading it for
By the end of the
Christmas or
year.
whatever. Yeah.
That's what I. Yeah, I hope it's within the year too with mine.
Hmm.
So looks like you guys are going to be getting some great books. Make sure you back this book. Share out the link. Um, we got what you got 52 backers.
Hmm.
And keep that number going, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun book. And with that being said, I feel inspired again. I got to get back to work on mine. I'd love to talk whenever. I'd love to have you back again. This has been a
Yeah.
ton of fun.
It's been
It seems
great.
like you have a lot of similar interests. Where's the best way everyone can keep up with you? I already have the link in the chat to the campaign.
Sure. Well, I got two things. Mostly Twitter. So that's my tag is underneath my name there, Catapano Art. And also I have a YouTube channel myself. So I do tutorials and kind of I chat about just pretty much the breakdowns of a lot of art and comic art and what makes things popular and make my little video essays there as well. It's growing pretty fast.
Oh,
So
you have video essays too?
yeah, short little ones. Yeah, nothing long. I wouldn't even call them essays. They're more like video. Yeah, they're like uh, crash courses almost like it's like time lapse me trying to figure out certain styles of art, and then I talk about it over top, and then just people enjoy like understanding why they may be like their favorite artists. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. And I all this time I was talking about art and everything. Oh, yeah, I just subbed to your channel. It looks great.
thanks,
But
man.
I just wanted to ask real quick, favorite writers before we head out?
Oh man,
I've been
dude,
asking about artists, and it's like I totally
yeah.
didn't
To
mean to
me,
overshare now.
dude, I'm a big fan of. I wasn't a big fan until I read Fever Dream, but George R. R. Martin's Fever Dream is incredible. If you've ever read that, it's a freaking vampire book on the Mississippi River. Really random, but really good. Uh, but other writers, I really like Gibson, who did Neuromancer. Comic writers, though, I like some of. I mentioned Justin Jordan already. I like Claremont. I like. Who's my I hate bringing up Scott Snyder, but I like his Court of Owls little run
That's one of
enough.
the ones that I never read that I've been meaning to.
Dude, it's worth it. I think everything comes together. I made a little I don't know if you know Save the Cat, but I made a Save the Cat beat sheet for it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
that whole run is worth reading, and I just haven't gotten to it yet.
it is. Yeah, and even if you don't like Snyder that much, like Capullo is worth the ride.
Yeah,
So
I've read part of his run, but not the whole thing. Not quarterbacks.
so there's a few writers that I really like. There's way more. I'm just blanking, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
man,
ask. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was gonna say congratulations on getting your book nearly launched, and best of luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. So everyone, speaking of that, everyone make sure to tune into Reenie's channel tomorrow. If you haven't already, join my mailing list. I'm going to post the link in the chat as we close out with the trailer. We had hit 565 signups last time I checked. I'm excited. Make sure you back on launch day to get that exclusive free trading card. We launch tomorrow night on Reenie's channel, and you're not going to want to miss out on this. So thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your day. Mine is going to be just filled with work. See you guys.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenal. For you, Dad. For you.